Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2 coming to you with another Garage Gun Talk, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I want to talk about the Hudson H9, or the, I guess now, Daniel H9. I want to talk about a couple of guns that I just literally got back from the range with, that I filmed the range portions of for the range reports. I want to talk a little bit about a viewer comment regarding my content and my style, I'm assuming here on the channel. And then I want to talk a little bit more about Matt Hoover. But I'm going to save that for the end because I know some of you guys don't want to watch and hear about that. And that is totally cool and fine with me. So I kind of felt I would put that at the end of the video, and I will let you know when I was going to talk about it, so that if you want to turn off the video and you just want to talk about the guns that I have on the table tonight, that's perfectly fine, okay? I try to be a gun channel for all and be as open and honest with you guys. And I'll just let you know when I'm going to talk about that. But let's first talk about the Hudson H9, okay? And the timing on the release of the Daniel H9 could not have been any better. I literally just reviewed the Hudson H9 a couple of weeks ago. I talked about it here on this channel. It's an incredible firearm. It's an incredible firearm. I absolutely fell in love with it, and I was remiss that it was no longer in production. I did know some other people had bought the patents and the rights to it, but I didn't know if anything was going to happen with that or so forth. And today we had, well, what I don't like is that type of group advertising where like all the big gun channels on the same day release an uber positive review on the Daniel H9 made by Daniel Defense about the modernization and like the new pistol that they've come out with. Looks very much like the older pistol. I guess there's not a lot of part interchangeability, but they upgraded so much about this particular gun. And, I'm not a big fan of that advertising style. It makes it look fake. It makes it look contrived. It makes it look dishonest. And I'm not saying it's going to be a crappy gun, and I'm not saying the people that made the videos are lying or dishonest. It just is always weird to me when these guns come out and the embargo on the information about them is lifted, and everybody has the most positive review in the world and nothing negative to say. It just is just a little bit iffy to me, okay? I don't like that. But it is the way it is. I understand the company needs to get the product out and, create demand and excitement and all that. So that's just a me thing, and it's just what I don't like, but doesn't mean I don't like the people that did the videos, or I don't like Daniel Defense or any of that, okay? I just something about that always turns me off when it comes to that type of advertising strategy. But anyway, it looks like Daniel Defense is coming out with essentially a Hudson H9 modernization. And so I had the video for my review of the Hudson H9 set for next week, and I had no idea this was going to come out today. So I went ahead and changed the release schedule. I flipped a few things, and I said, well, now's the best time to release the Hudson H9 review. So that's what I did, and on Wednesday, we're going to have the field strip of that video. But yeah, so I'm really excited about this. I am going to, when it comes to my personal acquisition of one, I will probably wait until the hype has died down and supply meets demand. Right now, the people that are trying to get them are paying MSRP or above. And it's one of those things where if you just wait a while, the demand goes down, the prices will go down. And also, we want to wait and see what happens with the quantities of them getting in shooters' hands, because problems that maybe Daniel Defense did not think about or were aware of will come to light. There could be a magazine issue, a slide stop issue, a frame issue, whatever issue could come out, and we go, oh, we got to go back to the drawing board, and just wait for that stuff to come out. Now, I will tell you, one of the people that lends guns to the channel, Jack number 2, has already messaged me and said, I got one on order. So when it comes in, I will get a chance to do a review on it. And I'd like to do it side by side with the Hudson H9, kind of do like a, let's look at it here at the table, on the table, and then of course get it to the range. So I will be able to review that, but you guys know my style. I'm always open and honest, so it won't be one of those reviews that came out today that was probably pre-approved by Daniel Defense. It's going to be my personal opinions and thoughts. And if you guys put any value in that, which I personally wouldn't, but if you guys do, you guys know that I try to be as honest as I can. I always talk about things that I like and don't like. And sometimes the things that I like are things you don't like or whatever, or things I don't like, or things you're like, that's not even a big deal, or you could do this differently and get over that. So, but you get my opinions, okay? So I will be able to review, hopefully, the Daniel H9, and it definitely is a firearm that I will be looking at for a possible future acquisition for my personal collection. So I'm really excited about that, and the timing couldn't have been better. So now let's talk about a few guns that I have on the table tonight, because I took them to the range, and give you guys my initial kind of impressions coming back. The first one I have is a big boy. I took to the range the Mateba 6 Unica in 44 Magnum. And I did a video where I changed out the barrel, and I went with the 8-inch barrel for this review. And this gun is in some ways better than the one in 357 Magnum, but in some ways not as good as that one. Let's talk about the things that are nicer about this. I believe this is a later generation. The double action on this revolver is so much better than that earlier generation. I mean, it is, in my opinion, light years ahead, where on the 357 Magnum one, the pull on that double action was like over 15 pounds. And my trigger pull weight gauge could not even read it. It went over that. There was no staging of the double action. This one, you can stage. So let me, of course, safety check the gun, and we are clear. But if I pull the hammer back, eventually it gets past a point, and now we're like in single action right there. It's like a wall, and it's great. And it's very light, and the single action pull on this is honestly just as good as the one in 357 Magnum. The trigger in this example, so much better. And the one in 357 Magnum was pretty darn good. I mean, the single action side is outstanding. But this one is, in my opinion, mechanically a little bit ahead of the other one. This gun is comfortable to shoot for 44 Magnum. I'm not really a big fan of 44 Magnum because, for me, 1 or 2 cylinders is usually about enough. Not a big fan of the big bore, powerful handgun cartridges, but this one works, and it's comfortable. The grips are nice. Now, unlike the one in 357 Magnum, I don't have the compensator for this. I do have it on the shorter barrel, but that compensator is literally frozen on that barrel. I could not change it out. And you'll see in the video where I talk about the mechanics of this gun and show how to change the barrel. So I was having to run just a regular threaded barrel with just like a little thread protector on it. But it does have the 8-inch barrel. And we do have a little bit of the recoil mitigation because it does shoot from the bottom cylinder. And of course, the upper is on kind of a slide. I guess it's like a semi-auto revolver. So as you can see, it moves and rotates the cylinder. And so a lot of that helps dampen the recoil. And with 44 Magnum, this thing is still a beast to shoot. It's still a beast. Something that surprised me about this one compared to the one in 357 Magnum, where in the one in 357 Magnum, you have to change the recoil spring out to shoot 38 special. And to change the recoil spring out in this thing is kind of a pain in the butt. Getting it apart is not so bad. Putting it back together is a pain in the butt. And I show how to do that when I do kind of the field strip of this gun. But this one, I thought I would try to shoot some 44 special through it. And I was just going to document, hey, it doesn't run. 44 special works in this gun. It works in this gun. It's amazing. And when you shoot 44 special through this, it's super light. It is super light. I am so impressed with this. This gun in 44 special is awesome. This gun is 44 special is awesome. So much fun. Super accurate. 44 Magnum, just not as fun because you get a little bit tired. Sights on this one were pretty much set. I figured out how to do all the adjustments on it. The big downside to this particular revolver, I think, is the loading and unloading. I did have the proprietary speed loaders for this, And I have found that when you open the cylinder, if you use the speed loader, you have to make sure that this cylinder and where the rounds go in, which, by the way, this is a recessed cylinder, they can't be next to this little stop. Otherwise, the rounds aren't going to go in. It's just not going to happen. And you have to make sure it's all lined up. And the same thing goes for ejecting the cartridges. If you just open this and just push that ejector rod, if it's not lined up right, they don't come out. And I find that you'll push the ejector rod and like, oh, it's not coming out. You got to rotate it, figure out where you got to kind of clock it, and then it comes out. So if you're used to fast reloading with revolvers, Smith & Wesson revolvers with the cylinders that swing out, you can swing it out, you hit that ejector rod, it just all comes out, nothing's in the way. This thing is just a little bit finicky on loading and unloading. And for me, that was kind of a pain in the butt. Whether or not you're using the speed loaders, everything just has to be lined up. A lot of times I would go in there and it's like, oh, not lined up. The other thing too is the release lever for the cylinder, which is here on the side. It's ambi. If it is down, because if you open the cylinder, let me show you. I'll open the cylinder. This stays down. And if that is down, you can't use the speed loader because it gets in the way. So you have to flip that thing up. So that's another thing about this gun that's a pain in the butt when it comes to loading and unloading. But the performance of this, it was rock solid. It was great. It was cool to shoot. I mean, a super rare auto revolver. So that was the first gun I took, and it's a big boy. It is a big boy. Look at that thing, man. Wow. Okay, so that was number one. Number two, this is one I wanted to kind of move up in the queue because I got quite a few guns from D and quite a few guns from Jack right now. And I have one gun from Richard. And I was like, well, if I do all these other guns first, I got so many in queue that I won't get to Richard's gun anytime soon. And he will probably get impatient. And I don't want to make him impatient or upset with me. So I kind of moved it to the front. And this is the Beretta PX4 Storm Compact in 9mm. Now, I have reviewed one of these things in 40, and it was okay. Let me tell you, oh, by the way, this is also the G model. Richard did change this to the G model, so it's decocker only. It has the D spring in it, so it's a lighter hammer spring. And this gun is awesome. This gun is so much fun. I am so impressed with it. I like the fact how, because it uses the rotating barrel, and let me show you how this works right here. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this gun, but if you're not, it has a rotating barrel in it. So as you can see, the barrel rotates. That's how it unlocks. It's not a Browning tilting action. So the slide comes back a little bit, then the barrel rotates, and then it unlocks. Because of that, you can rack the slide really easy. I think this is fantastic for like ladies or people with weaker wrists. At 10 yards and less, this thing is a tack driver for me. It is great. At further distances, no. I mean, I still get a decent group, but 25 yards, it's about like this. Not happy with it. But at 10 yards and less, this thing is awesome. Shooting fast, it's awesome. Very low recoil. I am very, very impressed with this. The trigger is really nice. Downside to this one, I think, is the sights. It's a 3-dot system. Let me see if I can show you here. There's the rear, and there's the front. Is that when you look down it, and of course, that's not a good example here, but the front sight, the size of it is a lot smaller than the aperture for the rear sight. So there's a lot of play in there. So when you look through it, you also have to kind of gauge the space around the front sight, make it even on both sides. And so you can have a lot of play with the windage on that. And I also felt like when it comes to the sights on these, I had to hold it like a SIG, where, a lot of people will say, you have your 2 dots in the back and the 1 dot in the center. I have to hold it 2 dots here, and then this dot is going to be up here. It's like the SIG combat sights, I think they call it. And so that's how I had to hold this one. But there's a lot of play in those sights. I might, if this was mine, I might change those out, or at least the front sight to something a little bit bigger, but it still shot great. And I'm really, really happy with this one. This one surprised me. And I haven't had the greatest of time with the PX4 Storms. I still like the idea and the mechanics of it, because I'm like a geek when it comes to the actions of firearms. Because I love the rotating barrel. I think they're just absolutely so cool and so awesome. But this thing shot better than any of the other PX4 Storms I have reviewed. So this thing's going to get high marks. So these are the next two that I'll probably get range reports on in the next couple of days. So I believe that's all I really had to talk about when it comes to those. So now we're going to move on to some comments I want to talk about, and then the Matt Hoover thing. So if you don't want to hear about that, okay, let's do the word of the day now. The word of the day is awesome, because I had an awesome time with both of these firearms tonight at the range. I had an awesome time. I mean, it's a great day when you get to shoot a unicorn Mateba, 6 Unica and 44 Magnum, and you have a great time with a classic Beretta pistol that just shoots great. So thank you, Jack, number 2, and thank you, Richard, for lending these to the channel and giving me the opportunity to review them. So awesome is the word of the day. All right, so that's what I wanted to talk about when it comes to guns. So if you are not interested in me talking about people's comments, and you are not interested in the Matt Hoover stuff, you can now turn away. Okay, and I will not be mad, and I completely understand it. So I hope you feel like I gave you fair warning. Okay, so you can turn off now. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and as always, thanks for watching. All right, so if you stayed, we're going to talk about some comments. Okay, so here's comment number 1. It was obviously from somebody that enjoys my channel, and I noticed that he was responding to somebody else. They weren't necessarily talking to me, but it was a reply to somebody else's comment. And essentially, it was a nice comment, by the way. It was a nice comment. And he said, I'm assuming it's a he, said something to the effect of, this channel is one of my favorites, or used to be one of my favorites, until he talks about what other people think in their comments in these videos. And I can respect that. I know that my style and what I want to talk about might not be for everybody. And that's why I said, hey, if you don't want to talk about this, you don't want to hear me talk about Matt Hoover, you can click away. You don't offend me, okay? I promise, you don't offend me. But I do want to talk about the philosophy of my channels. And that is, I run these channels the way I want to run these channels. I don't do this because I want to be famous. I don't do this because I want to be a big gun channel. I don't do this for anything else except really for my own personal enjoyment and hobby. And if you know me as an individual and a person, you will know that I am going to be who I am. Okay? You know, I guess I always kind of have two funny sayings that I always talk about when I talk to other people about myself. I say, I don't care if you're talking good about me or bad about me, just as long as you're talking about me. Okay? That's number 1. And if I was someone else, I'd want to talk about me too. And that's true. Okay? But I am who I am. And I'm going to do things the way I want to do it. This channel, okay, is my little kingdom, okay? Just like you were the king of your home, I'm the king of my home, and I'm the king of my channel. And I'm going to put on my channel what I want to talk about. Now, I try to give people a change. You know, the Texas Gun Vault, the main channel, is one thing, a certain style. The Texas Gun Vault 2, a completely different style. And my style may change over time. I may choose to talk about comments and Matt Hoover, and I might get on that kick for a week, and then I move on to something else, okay? And that's just what this is. This is free flow of thought, okay? That is what this is. This is Jason freestyling, and you get what you get, okay? Sometimes you get a terrible video where I'm stumbling and stammering and stuttering, and then sometimes you get me at the peak of my game, Okay? You never know what you're going to get. Okay? But that's it. I'm going to make content that I want to make. And I am not upset if you don't like it. I am not upset if you click away. I'm not upset if you give me a thumbs down. It doesn't affect my life at all. And as I said, we can still be friends. It's just the way it is. I just want to be true to myself and create content that I want to create. Because I want to do it for me. I want to do it my way. You don't have to like my way, and that's okay. So I just want to put it out there. You guys are free to not enjoy my content. I mean, look at my channel. This channel is so freaking small. I'm not doing it to get big. I'm just doing it because I enjoy it. I like sitting out here. What is it now? 9:45 at night. I could be inside doing something else and, working on the computer and whatever, but I'm out here talking to my phone alone in the garage. I do it because I enjoy it. So I just wanted to say that. Now we're going to get to the Matt Hoover thing, because there was somebody that commented on the channel, and let me move some of this stuff here because I got my computer out, because I wanted to read their comment, because they brought up some fantastic points regarding the videos that I made, I guess 2 nights ago and last night. And the commenter was somebody named Alan Powell, okay? And he said a couple of things. And his perspectives, I thought, were really, really good. And I just wanted to share them with you and see what you guys had to say if you follow the Matt Hoover thing. So he said, I guess, in response to people talking about how Matt Hoover was just selling a drawing, he had a perspective that I didn't think about. He said, to the just a drawing crowd, you have to understand that it's not a drawing. It's an etching, which can be argued is the beginning of the manufacturing process to make it into a lightning link. Arguing, would it be a machine gun if I printed it on paper, isn't an honest comparison, because the auto key cards were made out of the same basic material as the lightning links. Think of it like if Matt was caught counterfeiting cash. Would you say it's just ink on paper? If he printed it on metal, would it still be illegal? No, because it's about the intended use and an overt act to pass it off as the real thing. If you try to spend counterfeit money, if you try to market the auto key card's intended use as something to cut out at home or scratch your full auto itch, then throw it away, eliminating the evidence of having an illegal machine gun conversion device. There were videos where Matt said, I am an SOT and I can legally turn one of these into a machine gun. I plan to make at least 4 videos of me using a lightning link obtained from an auto key card. And I guess that's what Matt said in his videos. And he said, if I was on the jury and saw that video, then saw Matt's attorney saying, we never at any point thought it could be used as a machine gun conversion device. We knew it all along. After the ATF report of being cut out and not working was admitted into evidence, then, let's see here. Sorry, I gotta go to the next one. But anyway, you guys get what I'm saying. That it's an interesting point, that if he wasn't selling a drawing, he was selling an etching on the material that is used to create, at the correct thickness, the lightning link. And he's right about the counterfeit thing. If you print a counterfeit or an image of a dollar bill onto a piece of metal, it's not illegal, because you can't spend that dollar that you counterfeited, because nobody would accept it, because cash is on paper. Well, actually, it's on cloth, but you guys know what I mean. It's on paper, essentially. So it wasn't a drawing. It was an etching, which he's right, is the beginning of the manufacturing process. And after he said this about what those videos, I went online and I found those compilations of what Matt said. And Matt Hoover did say, this is the actual quote, I'm an SOT and I can legally turn one of these into a machine gun. I plan to make at least 4 videos of me using a lightning link obtained from an auto key card. If he said that in a video, which he did, I found it, and then he goes, oh, they were never intended to be used this way, and you can't actually turn it because the dimensions are wrong. He's dishonest. He's lying. He was doing it for clicks. And he's essentially showing that's what the intended use is. No, I believe machine guns should be legal. I believe that we should be able to allow or be allowed to convert them. I don't believe in the NFA. I don't believe Matt Hoover should be in jail. But he played a dangerous game. He said things that he should not have said, and I think he was defrauding fellow gun owners. Because people who bought those auto key cards bought them not thinking they were tchotchkes, not thinking that they were trivial pieces of metal. They didn't think it was a drawing. They knew and they believed, based off of what Matt said, that in a end of the world scenario, they would be able to go to their garage, go to a bandsaw or go to a Dremel tool and cut this thing out, and they would have a full auto conversion device, because that is what Matt said he was going to do and could do. And he was saying he could legally do it because he was an SOT. So he was essentially saying, using this thing made on the metal that the lightning link could be produced from, it's completely different. It was not a drawing. It was an etching. And I thought that was a very enlightening perspective that Alan Powell brought up. He also said, I think he should be free too. So Alan Powell does agree with us that he shouldn't be in jail. Okay? We all understand First Amendment, Second Amendment stuff. But he played a dangerous game. But he says, I think he should be free too. But if I was on the jury, I'd probably vote to convict solely on the dishonesty he exhibited and created in the gun community. If he was honest up front and said, look, I messed up when I first found out about the auto key card. I did want people to peacefully not comply with the NFA, but then I wised up. Justin had nothing to do with it. So he's saying that he should have just owned up to it, and just said, yeah, but that wasn't the case. And then I have to look this up, but Alan appears to know something about this case. The other stuff he mentioned was correct. But he says, it's important to note, I just have to say, Matt nor Justin contacted the ATF and got approval for the auto key card. I know that's a talking point. Everyone says, oh, they contacted the ATF and got approval. It says, that is a bold-faced lie propagated by John Crump. Matt had a video at the time explaining that he never specifically asked about the auto key card. There are no records of this happening because it never did. There is a reason why an approval letter was never posted. So they actually never got an approval letter. They never went to the ATF and got an official thing. It was okay. So there you go. Now, I had to look into this. As I said, so take that one with a grain of salt. I have not found that particular video where he said he specifically did not ask about the auto key card. But that's the information I got. And I think all three of those comments were very enlightening, and especially the one about the material. It wasn't just a drawing. It was an etching, which is the beginning of the manufacturing process on the very material that you can make the lightning links out of. So there you go. I still stand by what I said and what I believe. And you guys are free to disagree with me, okay? We've had some great conversations with people that disagree, okay? And you can see we can all have a great discussion and still be friends, right? We're all on the same side. So that's all I want to talk about tonight. So tell me about anything I talked about in the video, whether that be the Hudson H9, the guns I reviewed, me running my channel the way I want to run it, or anything about the Matt Hoover stuff. So let me know in the comment section below, and you already know what the word of the day is, because I said it earlier in the video. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, and thanks for joining me here in the garage. So, as always, thanks for watching.